Hi, Greg Dell with Dell Disability Lawyers, here with attorney Alex Palamara, and happy to discuss with you a long-term disability appeal against Hartford Disability Insurance Company that Alex just won. It's always great to go on video and talk about these success stories because it allows people to learn what it takes to win an appeal and also learn some things that could help them avoid a denial. So let's talk about the background of your case, and then we'll also give some tips for people to help avoid denial in the future.
Of course. So my client she was an administrative assistant for ADP Total Source, which everyone kind of sees ADP Total Source when you look at your paychecks. The paycheck company, of course. So she worked there for a number of years, and in 2014, she actually got into a horrific motorcycle wreck, like terrible motorcycle wreck, ended up having one of her legs amputated, and to her credibility, 3 months after suffering from that motorcycle wreck and having a leg amputated, she went back to work. She worked straight for a year and a half. Then after like 2016 or so, 2016, 2018, she kind of left work. She was working on a regular basis, but had to miss here and there, this, that, and the other. And then by August of 2018, it just became too much, and she had to file this claim for total disability benefits. Thankfully, her employer, ADP Total Source, provided a policy, a disability insurance policy, a normal group disability insurance policy. And when she applied for benefits, thankfully, Hartford initially approved that claim, and they paid that claim for 24 months. Now, the 24-month mark is something you're going to see on a regular basis if you watch our videos or if you know disability insurance claims. The 24-month mark is the most critical time period of your claim because that's when insurance companies deny most claims, and they did that with this lady's claim, unfortunately. So,
I'm looking at you kind of in shock because two of our other lawyers, Cesar Gavidia and Stephen Jessup, we did some videos earlier talking about some recent successful cases as we do these every week. And they did Hartford, and both of their claims were denied at the any occupation phase. So I'm kind of like a little bit, I don't want to say in shock, but it's like, is there like a memo going on at Hartford that's been for a while to say, we're basically going to try to deny everything at the 24-month change of definition?
Well, as everyone knows, it gets a little bit more difficult to qualify for those benefits because there's the change in definition of disability. So for the first 2 years under most of these group policies, you have to be unable to perform the duties of your own occupation. Then after that, it gets a little bit more complicated because at that point you have to prove that you're unable to perform the duties of any gainful occupation or any reasonable occupation. So they take that and they run with it. So that's when they deny most claims, and oftentimes the policies also have a 24-month mental health limitation or subjective symptom limitation or whatever it is. So if you're on claim and you're getting to that 24-month mark, it's very important that you're building your claim up, sending additional medical records, and doing whatever you can to prevent a denial. Call us and we can help you any way we possibly can.
All right, so I understand the change of definition, but your client in this particular case had a sedentary desk-type job to begin with, and then in the change of definition, unable to perform any gainful occupation, which at a minimum would be a sedentary job. So how did they think that if she couldn't do a desk job before, now there's some other desk job she can do? So I'm excited to hear this ridiculous denial.
It gets worse than that. So they send her a denial letter. She contacts me. She sends me the denial letter that same day. I review it. And that's the first thing I notice is the change in definition of disability. I notice what her job was. And lo and behold, they did a doctor review by this Dr. Joseph Ria, who I see his name on a regular basis for the last 10 plus years.
Is he a Hartford employee?
He is not. He's an independent doctor.
Well, he's not independent. Why would you even call him that?
Well, that's why I put the air quotes. He's independent in the sense that he does not officially work for an insurance company, but multiple insurance companies hire him on a regular basis. I'm not sure if he has a regular practice or not, or if his entire practice is.
He's a hired gun.
Hired gun.
Okay.
They use his review. And utilizing his review, they did a vocational review, and one of the jobs in the denial letter, they said, we believe you can perform a sedentary job, even though we just paid you for 2 years saying you can't do a sedentary job. And one of the jobs they said that she could do was that as an administrative assistant. So her own job. So for the past 24 months, why were you paying her if you actually now believe she can do her own job again? She's not gotten any better whatsoever. The medical records have not gotten any better whatsoever. It's just this Dr. Joseph Ria report says, and actually, the funny part is, Dr. Joseph Ria's report, it was kind of like, it was actually kind of supportive of her claim. He called her pain, because she had, actually phantom leg pain from the leg that were removed. She had back pain, wrist issues, all these other issues. And he says her pain is intractable, and said she's going to require restrictions and limitations, but then lo and behold says she can work sedentary work full time.
So what happened?
Contradictory.
Did Dr. Joseph have the cut and paste wrong from another file?
No, he didn't, and I always check that because I have so many of his reports that I always want to see the time that he's going to mess up, and I'm going to catch him. So I'm always comparing his reports, and he's good enough to cover his bases, I believe, and I've never met the guy. But his reporting here wasn't that wrong. It just conflicted with his ultimate determination. And then they used his report to do a vocational analysis, and this vocational analysis says she can be an administrative assistant in her own job, and then a surveillance video system monitor or whatever that is. And they denied her claim.
So what did you do on appeal to get her benefits reinstated?
The appeal was easy. We did a functional capacity evaluation, and we reached out to her providers to drum up more support for her claim. I got all of her medical records. I summarized them all. I figured out what was supportive of her claim. I went to her doctors and said, hey, she has this, this, and this going on. Here's what the medical records say. Here's the objective evidence. What is your opinions based on this? They all said there's no way this lady can do sedentary work full-time, any job whatsoever. We did a functional capacity evaluation. That report, by an independent physical therapist, said that this lady has a less than sedentary work capacity. There's no way she can do work 40 hours a week, let alone her own job or any job or a sedentary job. So we utilized that, and within 45 days of filing this appeal, which is kind of quick for Hartford, they reinstated the benefits, and now she remains on claim to this day.
It was interesting that you said the appeal was easy. The appeal may have been easy for you because you've handled
800
appeals?
To this day, 800 appeals.
Okay, but you've reviewed thousands and thousands of denials. Of course, we aren't able to handle every single claim, but of the 800 appeals you've done, it's easy because this is like riding a bike for you in terms of what you do. In terms of Hartford, I know you've handled probably at least 25% of those appeals have been with Hartford, but the trend is disturbing from Hartford because it's generally, especially they go to the same doctor often, they might even just rely on a nurse just to deny claims. They rarely have you examined. And then the Hartford claim reps forget about it. If the consulting doctor determines that the person has no restrictions, limitations, they just adopt that. It's over. It doesn't matter if you have 50 doctors that support your claim, they're going to deny it. What do you take away from this? What tip could you give to someone that may have helped to avoid a denial in this particular claim?
Well, if you're coming up to that 24-month mark, call us. I mean, realistically, call us, and we can either give you some insight to what to do to prevent a denial, or we can take over your claim and get involved with you now and ensure. I mean, we can't guarantee anything because you're still dealing with an insurance company, but put your claim in the best light possible to prevent a denial. However, if you've been denied, then I'm going to get going on your appeal. I'm going to review that denial letter, get the claim file, figure out where Hartford messed up, because I'm sure they messed up somewhere. If you're telling me that you're disabled and can't work, then they messed up somewhere.
But when you look back at this particular claim, what would you have done differently to help this person be better prepared for the 24-month change of definition?
Well, they need to be, first and foremost, informed. They might not even know this 24-month change of definition of disability is coming, because most of these people don't even have the policies.
So understand the policy language.
Understand the policy language, and then start drumming up support from your providers. Go to your doctors, get updated medical records, explain to your doctors what the insurance company might do, or that the insurance company might reach out to them. Or maybe arrange a functional capacity evaluation, or contact us so we can do all of this for you. This is what I do on a regular basis. I help people get on claim or stay on claim, or I'll sue the insurance companies.
Okay, so bottom line is that there's a lot of strategy that could be done. First of all, you can do things, and it's not a golden formula that we present to somebody. It involves reviewing all of the medical records, reviewing the disability policy language, understanding the current medical support, and then coming up with a plan in order to keep yourself on claim. But if you've been denied at that point in time, then it's really important we're married to what was done already in the records, but now we can create a new script and a new method of attack, because you only get one appeal, like you did in this case, and you want to do it absolutely perfect, because whatever's in the appeal is the only thing that can be used later on if you lose the appeal and have to file a lawsuit. So all things that you can contact Alex, myself, any of our lawyers. We'd love to discuss your claim, provide you with a free consultation. You may not need us now. You might want to work with us in the future, but we're happy to review the claim, get to know you a little bit better, and no matter where you live, we look forward to speaking with you. Hi, I'm Gregory Dell, the managing attorney of Dell Disability Lawyers, and I hope you find the video you just watched helpful. We put these videos out all of the time, and we'd love if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. Beyond our videos on our YouTube channel, we also have lots of information available on our website at diattorney.com, and we encourage you to come to our website. The goal is that we want you to be educated about the disability insurance process. And when you get to our website, you'll see that we have information all about your specific disability insurance company, your occupation, and your medical condition. And we've designed our website such that you can easily search our website to find things that you may specifically be looking for. Now, at our website, we have thousands and thousands of pages of information, hundreds of videos that you can search, plus we're building a section of reviews of all the disability insurance companies, and we have the Ask Our Lawyer section where you can go ahead and ask us any questions that you may have. Now, we realize that you may not need us right now, but you may need us in the future to help you with your disability claim, and we think one of the best ways to keep in touch is by clicking the button below and subscribing to our channel. And most importantly, again, no matter where you live in the country, we're always available. Just go ahead and give us a call. We're happy to discuss your claim and let you know immediately if we can help you.